Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the latest edition of Chatting to a Cricket Legend, great friend of the club, a true legend of the Red Rose County, a great teammate of myself, and a guy that brought cricket right to the fore of people's living rooms in 2005 with the Ashes. Freddie Flintoff, how you doing, Andy?
Andy, I've not been called that for so long. Hey, how you doing, Andy? I'm good, Eggy. It was quite the build-up that I wasn't sure if I was on Jonathan Ross. Oh.
We've been doing it for a fortnight now, mate. So it's these introductions are kind of rolling off the tongue a little bit.
Yeah, and you got your own studio there. What room are you in there, Eggy? You got the wardrobes up.
I'm in the spare bedroom.
What? But for any reason, or you just choose to be in there?
So what have you done to, mate? Isolation. You like everyone else. What have you been doing?
Pretty much. I went to Australia. I was in Australia. I was meant to be there for 3.5 weeks. I filmed Ninja Warrior over there.
Yeah.
So I went out there and then lasted 5 days and then had to fly back. Paddy McEwen, ex-Lancashire, my best mate, he comes with me for that one. So he comes out for an holiday in Melbourne while I'm working. And there was some debate whether we should go back or not. He was keen for staying, doing the isolation in Melbourne. But I said, Paddy, I've got to get back. I've got 3 kids. We just had another one. To get home, and since then I just whatever else you're doing, I don't leave the house. We've got a cricket net coming out the garage, which I've erected for the kids to keep their hand in at cricket. Got a basketball net, got football stuff in the garden. I've taken a job on TalkSport 6 till 10 on a Monday to Wednesday, which is a shock to the system.
Brilliant.
Strange thing is, under different circumstances, I think this lockdown would be all right, to be honest. I'm just spending a lot of time at home with the family and chilling out. I'm actually enjoying it. And the other thing is, I've realised how much I do miss cricket because there's just nothing about, is there, to watch with the kids or on telly or anything.
Well, I was just going to say that if you had a net put up in your garden, you're not putting the pads on or having a bit of a bowl at the lads.
Yeah, we have test matches, so I've had a game against Rock a couple of times. Do you know the worst thing about it is that I coach my kids. And I'm sure every other father who they try and talk to the kids and they look at it as if they don't know anything about it. And then it's over. But then also I try and give demonstrations. And in my head, I know exactly what I can do and I know exactly what I'm trying to do. But I always inside edge it or I get it wrong or I go in the net. I say this is what you do and it gets me out third ball. But yeah, we're just trying to make the best of it, to be honest. But I didn't realise how much I would miss it until I do now.
No, I'm exactly the same, mate. And it makes it worse as well, doesn't it? The weather outside, it's cracking the flags.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Sod's law, if the cricket was on now, it'll be chipping ice off the covers and 2 or 3 jumper weather. But looking at it outside, it's ace. But your career was, you're a Lancashire lad through and through, and you make no bones about the fact that you're a very, very proud Lancastrian and a very proud lad from Preston, that we've always known, and cricket's always been in your family. Yeah,
well, Preston, we've called the youngest now. He's 16 weeks old. We've called him Preston.
Yeah, I saw that.
I'll keep his feet on the ground. But yeah, I've lived in and around Manchester now for years, but I see home as Preston. And I know it's not for everyone, but I think wherever you come from is your home, and there's a certain amount of pride that comes with that. And then playing for Lancashire, it was a dream come true. I remember at 9, we had a coach come to the cricket club just to ask my dad if I wanted to trial. And I didn't think I'd get in. And I got into under 11s and got my first red rose on my cap and my jumper. And then that excitement's never left. And even now, Eggy, I don't know what it's like for you, but my career's long gone. But I still feel a massive belonging to the club. And every time I go in and you see the red rose on the stand, you do feel a sense of belonging. And you go around and you see the likes of you, and you see the lads in the office or ex-players. And it's, out of everything I've done, it's the one place where I probably feel most comfortable around cricket, and especially around Lancashire with everyone.
Yeah, and it is funny because to me and to all the lads you played with, you'll always be Fred. You'll be Fred who from Preston who enjoyed a giggle, was a terrific cricketer. Now you come in the office and it stops as if the Queen's walked in or something like that. It's just Fred. It's just Fred.
It's an absolute joke, Eggy. I used to work in them offices. One of the best things I ever did, and Do you know what I'd do, Eggy? Do you know, like, young players coming through?
Yeah.
I would advocate this. I was going to say, if I was in charge of the club, I'm on the board, so I've got a little bit of say, but they still pat me on the head and look at me as if I'm like a little kid in the corner. But I would advocate the players going working in the office, because, one, you get a sense of what the club means to everybody else, not just people on the pitch. And you must have had this, Eggy, since you retired. Definitely. You get to know people. And two, it's enjoyable. I used to love it. I used to love going in there. I started in accounts, and it was obvious pretty quickly I couldn't do that when I was 16. So I got moved into the ticket office with Connie and Val and Kath. And then I wasn't very good at that either. I kept falling asleep, but other women used to bring me food in and all sorts, and Ken Grime and Gary Porter and Pete Ash. Yeah. And then I got moved into a club shop and worked with Joy, Ron Spriggs' missus. And I tell you what, Eggy, I used to love that. I just used to stand there talking to old Joy. Every now and then a customer would come in trying to find a signed Warren Hegg cup or...
My mum had bought all them.
Oh, I used to see mum all the time coming in buying plates. If she's anything like you, Eggy, she was trying to sell them to us. But do you know what? I reckon that was so important for me, because every time I played, I appreciated what it meant to so many people, not just us on the pitch. And even now, I go back, and I still work with a lot of people who are still in the offices. Yeah. And it's such a nice thing to do that. You know, Paul Outlet, he has all his plans. Get him working at offices. We're talking about him doing nothing. Get him going on ground with Will and Matt and that. Get a sense of the club. Eh? I mind all this training, Eggy and David Blake. We don't care. We don't care much how much you can deadlift. No. Get some wickets. And work with Pete Ash.
There was only one gym in my career, mate. It was Jim's Cafe down the road in Bolton.
Oh, I tell you, Eggy, do you remember the pre-season training? It's like, I know we started doing it and we started training before the season, but I remember when I was, 16, we used to go to that shed, which was the indoor centre where the new ones.
Right. Yeah.
You go out for one Cholton run through Cholton. Yeah. And I always used to cheat. I never completed one. I used to find shortcuts and all sorts.
When I first joined the staff, we used to have an indoor net about the end of February, not too early, like everyone. And we used to come back to that indoor shed, exactly what you're talking about. We used to have a net for maybe an hour and 15, and because it was too cold and there was a bit of a leak coming through onto a length, they used to open the bar, and it used to be a free bar and a plate of sandwiches upstairs.
Yeah, I remember the sandwiches. I remember the sandwiches because I love corned beef, and there was always corned beef on. It's funny how it changed. You probably saw it through your career, Egg, how it got more professional, and then we started doing the pre-season stuff in the Total Fitness in Anforth, and
God, with Steve Hampson.
Oh, I'm poor taking. I used to feel so rough because me and Paddy used to live with each other. We used to go out, and then we have to turn up for training, and we just be there. Oh, it was horrible. It was horrible.
Oh, those were the days. That's when we get the stuff got real then, didn't it? We weren't even allowed in that Total Fitness in Ampleforth. I remember we used to have them dry sandwiches, and we cottoned on and started bringing little bottles of salad cream and mayonnaise to put on it, and we get a right rollicking for doing that.
Well, you talk about like players now. I'm not one of them who's going to go in my day and how well they're looked after now. So it should be professional. They should get paid well. They should get looked after. However, though, the feet won't touch the ground, would they? They're whinging about the temperature of the swimming pool and the dressing room. Come on, lads. Come on. Yeah, if you had a hot shower, you was happy. You know, the swimming pool, is the current of the water able to swim against it? Come on, lads. Come on.
Let's talk about you breaking into that team, Kurt. Because if I'm right, Fred, and I'm right, you made your middle of the 90s, was it?
Yeah. I'm not sure exact dates, but I played in the second team when I was 15.
Yeah.
I was playing for Lancashire under 15s against Yorkshire at Elm, and I got about 30 odd. Gareth Batty got me out, actually. I got caught. Right. Tried to hit him over the top, got caught mid on by Gareth Batty.
Yeah.
And then I came off, and John Savage, who I knew John, I was never quite sure what he did. He was always around watching cricket, and he was one of them. He's from the club.
Yeah.
He came up to me and said, "Do you want to play in the second team tomorrow against Glamorgan?" And I genuinely didn't know what he was on about. I had no idea. I said, "I don't know. You have to ask my dad." And it was to play a 3-day game against Glamorgan with the professionals. So he said, "Yeah." And I'll never forget going. Turned up in your blazer and your tie and everything. John Stanworth was coach. I love Stanley. And then Dexter Fitton was playing, Peter Martin, Roddy Irani's last season with Lancashire.
Yeah.
And I never forget, I just thought I was out of my depth. I was in the dressing room, and a lot of the conversations going on in the dressing room. I was 15, I didn't understand. I know they've changed it round now, but used to sit sideways on.
Yeah, that's right.
And it was in the days where the wicket was so fast. And I was watching this lad bowl called Bastian and another lad called Frost. And the ball seemed to be travelling for ages.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, I shouldn't be batting in this. And I went out to bat. And Peter Martin Digger was batting. And about third ball, I got hit in front of my face, fending one off. And Digger, brilliant, says, I'd watch your head, you're going to get a few more of them. It's, cheers, Dig. And I ended up getting 20 odd. And loved it. Second innings got, 10, 12. Got out to Robert Croft, I think, second innings.
Yeah.
I started getting paid, and I realised you can get paid to play cricket, so you get cash 60 quid for the game. And then it progressed from there. And then when I played the first team against Leek in a NatWest game.
Yeah, at Derbyshire, Leek, I remember it, yeah.
Yeah, I got one wicket. Mike Watkinson took a blinding catch at mid-off. I think I was 16. Bumble was coach. I love Bumble. He looked after me through my under-19s with England.
Yeah. And
then at Lancashire, then he picked me for England. He'll pick me for anything, Bumble. I tell you, he'll get me in any team. I remember that game at Leek in the NatWest. I was gutted because I thought I was playing as a batter because I didn't really bowl.
Yeah.
My back was bad. So I'm thinking, I wonder where I'm going in. I thought, well, I'm not going to get in above Crawley, Atherton, Fairbrother, Gallion, Lloyd. I'm thinking, I'm not going to get in before Egg. I'm thinking I'm going to be number 8 here. I'm going to be number 8. And then Bumble, he says, you're going in at 10. He's like, what, 10? 10? He's standing Chaplin before me. Come on. And I managed to get a wicket, but I was so nervous, Eggy. You got no idea what it was like as a young lad. You walk into a dressing room, and I'd seen you about a little bit at Penwitham at the Nets on a Sunday in the winter.
That's
and
right.
I've seen a few people, but I can't tell you how nerve-wracking it was, Eggy. You come in with your bag as a young lad who knows nothing, wet behind the ears, and you're surrounded by people that you've seen on telly, people that you look up to, and you're meant to be in the same team and mixing it up. It was so daunting.
You know what, Fred? You're talking about that, but you came into our dressing room, and you seem to fit in. You seem to fit in straight away. And it wasn't too long after that I remember the banter we had and the fun we had doing warm-ups, and you're pulling people's pants down, and you're sticking my head in the dirt and rubbing my head in the dirt because I called you something you didn't like or something like that.
I think all that started was because the hardest part about it was you look around at all these players and you know how good they are. And these are proper cricketers. And one, you want to prove yourself as a player before you can be even accepted as a person, which is probably the wrong way around, but it's probably how you look at it. Mm. And when I started having a little bit of success, I think that's when I became more confident around the lads. And my debut was a disaster. Played against Hampshire down at Portsmouth on the Army ground. And
Was played, didn't he?
Oh, Wazin was playing, and then Bumble, he said I was the best slip catcher he's ever seen, I think, and I catch pigeons. I do, but in kids cricket, so I got put in the slips in my first game, which is unheard of. Second slip to Wazim Akram. I dropped 3 catches before lunch.
I remember.
And then Wazim shouted, "Get him out of there! Get him out of there!" It's like, come on, man. It was awful.
I have to admit, Fred, I was killing myself laughing behind my glove. I had my glove up and you didn't know where to put your face.
Can you imagine how it felt, Eggy? Can you imagine, right? I'm there, I'm in pain because I've got 3 marks on my body where the ball's hit me because I've not got an hand on it. I'm 17 years old. I'm surrounded by home heroes dropping catches. One of the world's greatest ever cricketers, Wazir Akram, has just shouted, "Get him out the slips." Neil Fairbrother has had his nose put out of joint because he's been standing there since time began. You know what Arb's like. If you can't handle change, that lad. So can you imagine how I was feeling, Eggy? I just wanted the ground to just take me now. Take me. I don't want to be here.
It does. That does make me giggle thinking back on that. But like you said, you had success. You came in, you had success. You took your great mate Alex Tudor apart in a game at Old Trafford against Surrey one day. You hit him for 75 in 1 over or something like that, if I can remember. And then you moved on. Your career moved on.
Yeah, my career went fast. It moved fast, which was one of the things I really struggled to keep up with. I was never any good at making debuts. I was never any good at starting. I think, for all the bravado and everything, I think you're just that little bit unsure of yourself, especially in new surroundings. Because at every step up you make with cricket, you're playing with better people, and you're playing with people around you that you look up to so much that you just don't want to do well for yourself, but you want to impress your teammates as well. And I found that a bit with Lancs, and not in a bad way, but in a good way. And when I started making a few scores, it was brilliant. It was brilliant. I don't know if you experienced this when you started, Eggy, but imagine, like, as a kid, all you want to do is play cricket for Lancashire.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, every week, you're standing at slip to Wazir Akram, you're batting with John Crowley. It does have its downsides. You got Mike Atherton. But Af was one of my heroes growing up. He really was. And getting to play with him was another one. That it was brilliant. And if you did have success, the nice thing about them days was everybody celebrated the success.
Yeah, I did.
I played in teams and I played with people, and they're not always happy that others do well within that side. But I think in that side, we can honestly say that there was a great team spirit.
Yeah, Bumble brought that in, Fred. Bumble brought that in, and his words were, you got to enjoy your teammates' success.
Yeah,
and that was the big thing. It wasn't just that. You touched on it before as well. It was the whole club. I remember the whole club would go out and celebrate and have a drink in the old Tilsley, the Tilsley bar on a Sunday if we had a good win, and we'd all. So it was a case of, when we said it before, you punch one of us in the nose, and the whole club hurts.
But I think it wasn't us and them, was it? It was a club. So, all the office staff would come out and watch, and everybody had a lid on how the team were doing. You go in the bar afterwards and you drink with some, not all the members. Why would you? But you drink with some of the members, and you'd know people. I think the players were so accessible.
Yeah.
I think that's so important within sport and within a club like ours, that it remains that way. It's becoming increasingly difficult to do that.
Yeah, it is, and then we touched on it. The England career, you went on to play many times for England, ended up captaining it. But probably one of the highlights of your career playing for England, mate, must have been the 2005 Ashes series, which was, even if you're not a big cricket man, that series for me is still spine-tingling, hairs on the back of your neck. Brilliant to watch.
Yeah, it's a strange one because it was 2005. It's a long time ago now.
Yeah.
And although we all dine out on that series, and I reckon there's a bit longer left in it as well. You do get a little bit embarrassed by it from time to time. Yeah. But what a time to be an English cricketer. And 2005 was like a build-up for the previous 3 years. We were beating everyone in the world.
Yeah.
And then when we played against Australia, I'm not sure if we thought we were going to beat them because they were so good, but we thought we'd have a chance. And then the way in which that series just took off, from the first game being beat at Lords, where I bottled it and a few of the other lads did, to Edgbaston winning by a couple of runs.
Yeah.
And then Old Trafford, that test match was it was something else. In the fact that I didn't do it often. I didn't play many home games for England at Lancs. But this was like the best game ever, even though we drew.
Yeah.
England started well. We had a real sense we were going to beat Australia. And then on the last day, when test match tickets are so cheap and nobody comes, there's 20,000 people trying to get in the ground. And you look around and it was people that you knew, it was people urging you onto balls or trying to take them last wickets. It was so special. And the nicest thing about it for me was after the game, in my whites, I sat with Pete Marin in his office and the lads, because I used to live with Pete on the car park when I first signed. We just sat there till God knows what time in the morning, just drinking cans in my whites. And that for me ties it all in, where it's obviously a place where you play cricket. There's a real sense of a club. Pete Marin's someone that I'd lived with. It was just perfect. Apart from the result, but we got the best side of a draw.
Absolutely, and we spoke to Harv last week, and you know what he mentioned Pete Marin. He was the head groundsman at the club. He was everyone's mate, wasn't he? And he had barbecues on the pitch, and like I said, you lived with him in his groundsman house for a while.
Yeah, I did. When I was 16, I couldn't drive, so I couldn't get to the club. And the whole reason I worked in the offices was I wanted to play cricket in Australia, but my mum wouldn't let me. She said I was too young to get a job. So I worked a bit behind the record counter at Woolworths in Preston, and then I worked in the offices at Lancashire. And I got put up with Pete Marin. And I used to go on a Sunday, and I used to go back to Preston on a Friday to my mum's. But the first Sunday I got there, he was waiting for me. I've gone in with my bags. And he was quite a formidable character, Pete. One day he was hard as nails, wasn't he?
Salford's finest.
Yeah, so everyone's putting me off moving in with him. Anyway, saying you're in for hell here with him. But the first day, he took me to the Quadrant pub around the corner of the ground. And it's before it had been done up. And I'm sat with his mates. And he said, "What do you want to drink?" I said, "Let's have a Coke, Pete." He said, "You're not having a Coke. You want a bit of a lager? You're in my pub now." I said, "Go on then, have a pint of lager, Pete." So I had a few pints of lager with Pete and his mates. And then the following week, I came back to Manchester and he wasn't in. Nobody in the house. I'd not got a key. So I thought it would be in the pub. So I went round to the Quadrant pub and I sat with all his mates, but Pete wasn't there. So I was in there till about 10:30 and about 5 or 6 pints. And the door flung open. It was Pete. He grabbed hold of me and he's like my dad. He marched me off. He marched me out the pub. Put me back home, but it's brilliant days. And
so we talked about your career and Lancashire and England, but you're doing all your TV stuff now, and you're here, there, and everywhere. But you keep touching back on family with your mum and dad. They've been a massive support for you in your career.
Yeah, they are, and I'm finding out. I think now I'm a father. Of lads, well, 2 of the lads are 14 and 12 and they play cricket with a junior setup at Lancs. How much that they've been through and how much they go through, because I'm living very differently to how they did. They on a shoestring budget, and it was only after that I realised that when I was playing all these games for England juniors up and down the country, mum and dad used to be there. I did sleep in the car. We was in hotels with the team. And the sacrifices they made and the support, I was so lucky, and without them, none of it had happened. And now having kids, I tell you what, it's a nightmare. Like playing cricket is one thing when you're doing it yourself, and I get a bit nervous and I walk out, and when I see my kids doing it,
horrible.
I tell you what, every time I sit there, and I don't want to be near any other parents because I can't be with chat. Oh, they all know everybody else's kid's getting on and all this, and he's done that. And then everyone's got a theory. I'll be sat there, right, and they'll be talking about the club Lancashire. And they talk about things. I think I'm not bored of this club. I know it's funny how things get filtered down and stories start. But watching the kids is so nerve-wracking. You just want them to do well every time. Yeah. And it doesn't work like that. But no, I'm loving it at the same time.
What about the TV work, Fred? Do you enjoy doing all that stuff?
Yeah, I do. The hard part with it is that all I ever wanted to be was a cricketer.
Yeah.
That's all I ever wanted to do. I wanted to play cricket. And that was so good that nothing's ever going to live up to it. So when people ask about the jobs, I like them, don't get me wrong, and I'm so grateful I do the stuff I do. But I never set out to do it. It was never a plan. I stumbled into it. And nothing's ever going to be like playing cricket. Nothing's ever going to be like being in the dressing room. or going out on a field and playing. So I feel ungrateful some ways. But if you'd have said, like, you know, League of Their One's one thing, been there from the start, you know, doing Top Gear, and it's...
What about... I watched something the other night. I was on telly in the background, and you crashed your chippy van.
Yeah.
You went,
I crashed.
and you were supposed to be flying in down south Plymouth or somewhere. And you drove into a car park, and you...
Eggy, listen to that conversation, the question you just asked me, Eggy. I used to play cricket for Lancashire and England. You just asked me a question about crashing my chippy van on Sky. It's bizarre.
What's he doing? And then you blame the other bloke.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what I'm like. I blame everyone for everything. It's never my fault, is it? Eh? Ask Duncan Fletcher. Ask Nav Watmore. Ask.
It's all their fault.
Ask Bobby Simpson. Ask them all. No, but it's so strange. And do you know the TV stuff? I genuinely, and I'm not after compliments or I'm not fishing.
Oh.
I genuinely don't know how I get work, because you know what? Because I see people doing TV, and I think I'm not like these. And I'll go with it for as long as I can drag it out.
Yeah.
But I keep getting confused. I think I'll be on Test Match Special one day, I'm sure. But,
a quiet life.
Yeah.
Nah.
But the TV stuff, because I was meant to do the 100 this year, and I was looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Just being around cricket, working with Rob Key, one of my mates, and
correct.
You go. Do you know the nice thing, Warren? Do you know you come to the club, or you up around cricket, and you bump into people you've not seen for a while, and it's like nothing else, where you just pick up from where you left off the last time. And that's the nice thing about the club and cricket, is you've got all these shared experiences with so many different people. Like with you speaking to Bully, who I love Bully, you've done this with, and Wazim and Arv.
Yeah,
it's so nice, isn't it?
It's brilliant, mate. And I'm the same as you. I count myself so lucky to be still working at a stadium. There's no better job than working at a sports stadium. If you're playing, if you're walking onto that green stuff out there with the jumper on, whatever shirt you're wearing, or B, you know, your office is based at an international sports stadium, and you can see that ground every day.
Do you know when you say you see the ground every day?
Yeah.
Do you just look at it now, or do you now think about days you've had on it? And
it's a really good question now, because I'm lucky enough to looking at the fact that virtually every day in the summer I walk over that field, whether it's to go to the dressing room or to the umpire's room or to the media broadcasting suites, and I feel a little bit embarrassed that I take that for granted. I'm a bit like you. I take it for granted. Yeah, if we take a sponsor on from Emirates or from Heineken or something like that, and they walk onto the middle of Emirates Old Trafford, they want to soak it all in. I'm saying, come on, we need to go. We need to get off and just do a photograph. And that's how. And we take it for granted of being in that place that's 150 years old.
And there's not been that many people who played for the county, and we're one of them. The other thing which I find really hard at times, though, is that I look at the ground or I walk on it, and then now, because I'm 42, and I realise that I'm not young, or as young as I used to be. Oh no, but Eggy, it's bittersweet, because you walk on the ground and you're all happy and you're all excited.
Yeah.
But then the other side, it's home. I'm never going to play again for these. That's one thing I struggle with, because now I'm 42 and I realise that I'm too old and my body don't work anyway. I can let it go a little bit, but when I was in my 30s, I found that really difficult thinking. And then the lads will come walking out to do the warm-ups and that. And they're a good set of lads, but I get a little bit jealous. I do. I curse a few. I curse a few of them. Don't get me wrong. It's like because I'd love to be doing it.
That's never going to escape any sportsman. I'm lucky enough to speak to Will Greenwood and to Peter Reid, and that's something that's come up away from cricket. That when you do finish, you miss that camaraderie and that sense of friendship that you're used to every day, and little things like having a brew with your mate.
Yeah.
At 8:30 in the morning, when you rock up to the dressing room, you can't replace that in any form of life.
No, you just get into that. You get into a routine, and it's not real. And yeah, it's the simple things you do miss. It really is. That's why I think while you're playing, you got to cherish it. And you probably think when you look back, you should have cherished it a little bit more. If we did whinge as well, didn't we, when it was cold?
Absolutely.
And then you're staring down the barrel of a day in the field. And it's like, oh my word. It was so much fun.
It was fun, and this conversation's been great. Obviously, we've known each other a long time. Listen, you know, and I have to mention before I stop that you are a Freeman or whatever you call it of Preston now. Preston's part of your life, and am I right in saying you've even got a road named after you? Is it Flintoff Way?
Well, it's a bit of conjecture over that, Eggy.
Is there?
Well, I got the Freeman of Preston after the Ashes, which lets you do a lot of things that I'll never do. Well, apparently, this is how it goes: is that you can drink in all the pubs for free, which, well, yeah, this is the. But I don't even drink now. 5 years ago, that'd have been handy. And then apparently, the police have got to take you home if you get too drunk.
Really?
Yeah, I tried that when I was younger, but they took me to their house. And then you can, I don't know if it's sheep or cows, you can walk through the city centre. I don't know how true these are. And they were all brought in back in the day for like politicians and that. But yeah, it is a nice thing to have. It makes me smile actually when you think you've got the freedom of Preston. Because I love the place. But yeah, there's been a few accolades knocking about. But yeah, I get a bit embarrassed by him, to be honest, Yegi. Even the BAFTAs.
The BAFTAs. Well, did you sometimes have to pitch yourself? Did you think, what am I doing here?
Yeah, I work on a show that got a BAFTA, and essentially I just pulled Jack Whitehall's pants down. Who said I'd amount to nothing?
That is class, and like you say, we always catch you. We've known each other for a long time. You're part of you're part of the scenery at Emirates Old Trafford, and we love having you. We love having seen you, and we'll never take you for granted. You know that, and we'll always take the mickey out of you. And you
know what? I get more out of that club than I get more out of the club than they'll ever get out of me. It is. I just say it's just somewhere to go where you just switch off and you can just see all your mates and you can watch the cricket. Yeah. It's so good. I just hope in the next few months, especially with no cricket being played, everyone's worried. You know, you got the hotel, you got the conference in, the banquet in, and you got all these counties up and down. You know, furloughing players, which is something I hope we don't have to do, but could be an option at some point if this carries on and on and on. Yeah. Well, I just thought we can get through this as unscathed as possible, but it's going to take its toll. When you've seen all these football clubs in the Premier League, you know, struggling for money, and then you see the money that's involved in cricket, I think, you know what, it is going to be a struggle for everyone, but just got to stick together.
You nailed it. You've got to stick together, and this club of ours has been through 2 world wars and deep struggling times financially, but we've got through it. So, but I think the message for everyone is that, you know, keep safe, keep indoors, let's get this out of the way, and then crack on as much as we can when it finishes.
Yeah, I think you just got to feel for the cricket clubs out there as well, up and down the county, where, you know, there'll be so many clubs are struggling for money, and then they're going to need the members, and they're going to need the players and the other people so much more. I've seen it on Twitter where people are trying to raise money and do all types of things. So, yeah, good luck to everyone out there. But hopefully we're going to get some cricket this year. But at the minute, I don't know, Eggy. I don't know.
Who knows? Who knows? Yeah, and like you said, recreational cricket, Fred. The recreational cricket message. That's where we came from. And at the end of the day, that is where the pipeline of our new Lancashire players and England players are going to come from. And that for me is an area that we all need to stick together and make sure that once we're out of this bit of a dip, that them recreational clubs are giving as much support as they possibly can.
Yes, because I think in a lot of ways before all this, cricket was doing all right. England team performing well last year in a World Cup. Yeah. Always had a knock-on effect. I think us as a county on the field are getting better and better. I still think we can produce more England players. I think that's got to be we've got Jimmy. Now we've got a couple of lads knocking on the door, but I think we can always improve. But I think the hard thing for us at the minute is, through all this, I know there's a lot of important things going on in the world, but we still need to keep that message of cricket out there. We still need to start looking after our own and encouraging kids to keep playing at home, and just hoping that they'll get some sort of season at the back end. But we still need to do whatever we can.